Sophia's journey. From rejection to resilience. Sophia's childhood home, once a place of laughter, now seemed suffocating, its walls echoing her parents' harsh words. "Do you have anything to say for yourself?" her father, Louis, thundered. His voice reverberated through the air, heavy with judgment. Sophia, just 13, stood frozen, clutching her shirt as if it could shield her from the storm of accusations. "I didn't mean to," she stammered, tears welling in her eyes. But her mother, Isabella, cut her off, her voice venomous. "A disgrace to this family. How could you let this happen?" When Louis slammed his hand on the table, the sound jolted Sophia's fragile heart. "You've ruined us. Get out. You have no place here." Sophia's pleas for mercy fell on deaf ears. With trembling steps, she left the only home she had ever known, stepping into a night heavy with rain and despair. As she wandered aimlessly, the weight of rejection poured down on her. Each step felt like sinking into quicksand, the rain mingling with her tears. She sought refuge in a park, the cold bench offering little solace. Sleep came fitfully, her dreams haunted by her parents' scornful faces. But Sophia clung to one glimmer of hope, the tiny life growing inside her, an unlikely savior. Sophia awoke to a frail voice. "Child, what are you doing out here?" A kind elderly woman, Margaret, had found her. The warmth in her eyes was a balm to Sophia's wounded soul. Without hesitation, Margaret took Sophia to her modest bakery. The bakery was a stark contrast to the harsh world outside. The scent of fresh bread and the warmth of the ovens wrapped around Sophia like a comforting embrace. For the first time in days, she felt safe. Margaret's care was unwavering. "You're not alone anymore," she assured Sophia, her voice steady. In Margaret's small bakery, Sophia found not only shelter, but also a semblance of family. She began helping with the work, kneading dough, and learning the art of baking. Battling society's scorn. Despite Margaret's kindness, the outside world was unforgiving. Whispers filled the neighborhood. "Did you hear about the pregnant girl Margaret took in?" Customers began to dwindle, their judgmental eyes lingering on Sophia whenever she ventured out. One day, a man stormed into the bakery, pointing an accusing finger. "That girl is trouble. She'll ruin your business." Margaret, ever steadfast, replied, "What I do in my bakery is my choice. If you don't like it, you're free to leave." The confrontation only fueled the rumors. Sophia felt the weight of the community's disdain, each whisper a dagger to her already fragile self-esteem. A turning point. Determined not to be a burden, Sophia sought work outside the bakery. But every door she knocked on was slammed in her face. "We don't hire people like you," one shopkeeper sneered. One particularly cruel encounter left Sophia trembling. A woman accused her of theft in a crowded market, causing a scene that ended with Sophia fleeing in tears. The humiliation was unbearable, but it strengthened her resolve. Sophia began to channel her pain into determination. She worked harder in the bakery, learning everything she could from Margaret. Together, they created new recipes and hosted small gatherings to draw in customers. Slowly, the bakery became a haven not just for Sophia but for others who felt outcast. Sophia's triumph. Years passed, and Sophia grew stronger with Margaret's guidance. The baby boy she had once feared would bring only shame became her greatest source of strength. She named him Gabriel, symbolizing hope and resilience. With Margaret's support, Sophia began taking courses online. She learned about business and marketing, skills she used to transform the bakery into a thriving establishment. The once judgmental neighbors became regular customers, drawn by Sophia's warmth and the bakery's inviting atmosphere. Sophia's return to her childhood town years later was met with stunned silence. She walked through the streets with her head held high, Gabriel by her side. Her parents, once ashamed of her, stood speechless as they saw the confident woman their daughter had become. "I'm here to show you that I'm not a failure," Sophia said calmly. "I've built a life filled with love and purpose, a lesson in compassion." Sophia's story became a beacon of hope for others facing rejection and hardship. She started a foundation to help young mothers, ensuring no one would endure what she had. The bakery grew into more than just a business. It became a symbol of second chances and unwavering resilience. Through it all, Sophia remained humble, crediting Margaret for saving her life. "One act of kindness can change everything," she often said. Her journey from despair to triumph serves as a powerful reminder. Even when the world turns its back on you, the strength to rise again lies within. And sometimes, the kindness of one person can make all the difference. This story emphasizes resilience, compassion, and the transformative power of kindness, ensuring it resonates with and inspires readers while maintaining originality and sensitivity. Rising from ashes. The years at Margaret's bakery became a transformative period for Sophia. Each day began with the scent of warm bread and ended with aching feet and satisfied smiles. The routine was a lifeline, but Sophia knew she couldn't rely on Margaret forever. With Gabriel growing fast, Sophia resolved to carve out a future for them both. Learning to stand tall. One evening, as Sophia cradled Gabriel by the window, Margaret approached her with a steaming cup of tea. "You're doing well, Sophia," she said, her eyes twinkling. "But the world is bigger than this bakery. You've got potential, and it's time to let it shine." Margaret's words ignited something in Sophia. The next day, she ventured to the local library, borrowing books on business and baking. Every free moment was spent poring over pages, scribbling notes, and dreaming of possibilities. Her determination didn't go unnoticed. Customers who had once whispered behind her back began to admire her resilience. "Did you hear? That girl is trying to learn something new," one woman remarked. Slowly, the murmurs of disdain transformed into nods of respect. Facing the shadows of the past, Sophia's growing confidence was tested when she received news of her father's illness. A neighbor who frequented the bakery brought the message, her tone a mix of pity and surprise. "He's not well, you know. You should visit. He's your father, after all." The idea of returning to the house that had once cast her out filled Sophia with dread. But Gabriel, now a curious 5-year-old, tugged at her hand. "Mommy, who is Grandpa?" he asked, his innocent eyes wide with curiosity. Sophia hesitated. Gabriel deserved to know his family, even if it meant facing the ghosts of her past. With Margaret's encouragement, Sophia set out to visit her parents. The walk felt like stepping into a time machine, each familiar street stirring a mix of memories. She paused at the gate of her childhood home, Gabriel clutching her hand. "Mommy, is this it?" he asked, tilting his head. "Yes, sweetheart," Sophia whispered, summoning every ounce of courage. She knocked on the door. A cold reception. The door creaked open, revealing Isabella's familiar face, aged but still sharp. Her eyes widened in shock, darting between Sophia and Gabriel. "You? What are you doing here?" she stammered, her voice laced with confusion. "I heard about Dad," Sophia replied, her tone calm but firm. "I came to see how he's doing." Isabella hesitated before stepping aside. "He's in the living room. But don't think this changes anything," she said, her words a mixture of pride and underlying guilt. Sophia entered, her heart pounding. Louis sat in a worn armchair, looking frail and distant. His once commanding presence had diminished, replaced by the fragility of age and illness. "Dad," Sophia said softly, her voice catching. Louis turned his head, his eyes narrowing as he recognized her. For a moment, there was only silence. Then he spoke, his voice gruff but weakened. "Why are you here?" "To see you," Sophia replied. "And to show you, I'm not the person you thought I was." Confronting the pain. The conversation that followed was tense, filled with unspoken regrets and painful memories. Louis remained guarded, his pride refusing to yield. "You brought shame to this family," he muttered, avoiding her gaze. Sophia knelt beside him, her voice steady. "I was a child, Dad. A scared child who needed love, not rejection. but I've built a life despite everything. Gabriel is proof of that." Louis glanced at Gabriel, who stood quietly beside his mother. The boy's bright eyes and innocent smile seemed to melt some of the ice in his heart. For the first time, Louis softened. He looks like you did at his age." The visit ended with no grand reconciliation, but it was a step forward. Sophia left feeling lighter, as though a weight she had carried for years had begun to lift. Building a legacy, back at the bakery, Sophia threw herself into work with renewed purpose. She began experimenting with recipes, drawing inspiration from her childhood favorites. "People love a good story," Margaret told her one evening. "Why not make this bakery about more than just bread?" Sophia took the advice to heart. She started sharing her journey with customers, incorporating it into the bakery's branding. "From broken to beautiful" became their tagline, reflecting both Sophia's transformation and the artistry of their baked goods. Word spread, and the bakery gained a reputation not just for its delicious pastries, but for its inspiring message. People came from neighboring towns, eager to meet the woman who had turned her pain into purpose. Giving back. As the bakery flourished, Sophia turned her attention to helping others. She started offering free baking classes for young mothers, providing them with both skills and a supportive community. One day, a young girl named Clara timidly approached Sophia after a class. "I'm pregnant," she confessed, her voice barely audible. "My parents kicked me out." Sophia's heart ached as she listened to Clara's story, so similar to her own. She took the girl's hand. "You're not alone. You have a place here." Through the program, Sophia helped countless women find their footing, just as Margaret had done for her. The bakery became a sanctuary, its walls echoing with laughter and hope. Returning as a beacon of hope. Years later, Sophia returned to her hometown to open a second bakery. The announcement caused a stir, the once judgmental community now eager to celebrate her success. At the grand opening, Sophia stood before a crowd that included her parents. Louis, now frail but smiling, approached her. "I was wrong," he admitted, his voice trembling. "You've made me proud." Tears filled Sophia's eyes as she embraced him. "I just wanted you to see that I was never broken, just bent." The lesson. Sophia's journey serves as a testament to the power of resilience, forgiveness, and the transformative impact of kindness. Through pain and rejection, she discovered her strength and used it to uplift others. Her story is a reminder that no matter how dark the night, the dawn always comes. This expanded part dives deeper into Sophia's emotional growth, her struggles with her past, and her impact on others, making the narrative richer and more inspiring. Transforming lives, creating change. The new bakery in Sophia's hometown flourished almost immediately. What once was a community that rejected her now lined up for her pastries and inspiration. But for Sophia, success was not an endpoint, it was a platform. She believed that her journey had equipped her with the responsibility to create ripples of change far beyond herself. This was just the beginning of her mission to transform lives. A foundation of hope. With her business thriving, Sophia used her resources to establish the Second Chances Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting young mothers who had been cast out, marginalized, or left behind. The foundation provided shelter, education, and job training, along with counseling services for those who had endured trauma. The foundation's first project was a shelter named Margaret's Haven, in honor of the woman who had saved her. Sophia poured her heart into every detail, ensuring it felt warm and welcoming. Margaret, now retired, cut the ribbon at the grand opening, her eyes shining with pride. "I always believed in you, Sophia," Margaret said, tears streaking her cheeks. "And now you've turned your pain into something beautiful for others." Margaret's Haven quickly became a refuge for many, including Clara, the young girl Sophia had helped earlier. Clara soon became the first graduate of the program, finding a stable job and even returning to mentor other women. "Sophia gave me more than shelter. She gave me hope," Clara often said. Challenges and backlash. However, As Sophia's foundation gained visibility, not everyone supported her efforts. Some community members, still clinging to outdated beliefs, criticized her work. Letters arrived at the bakery accusing her of enabling bad behavior by helping young mothers. One particularly harsh letter read, "By giving these girls a place to stay, you're encouraging irresponsibility. Don't you see the damage you're doing?" The words stung, but Sophia refused to let them deter her. She had faced worse, and now she was stronger. For every person who misunderstands, there are 10 whose lives were changing, she told her team at the foundation. To combat the negativity, Sophia launched a campaign called Stories of Resilience, sharing the journeys of women who had overcome adversity with the foundation's help. The stories were raw and inspiring, showing the humanity behind the headlines. Slowly, public opinion began to shift, and more people stepped forward to support her mission, reconnecting with family. As Sophia worked tirelessly to expand her foundation, her relationship with her parents also began to mend. Louis, now too frail to leave his home, started writing her letters. At first, they were brief and guarded, but over time, they became more heartfelt. In one letter, he wrote, "Sophia, I've been thinking a lot about the day we pushed you out. I was wrong. I see now that my pride and fear blinded me. You've done more with your life than I could ever imagine. Gabriel is lucky to have you as his mother. I only hope you can forgive me." Tears filled Sophia's eyes as she read his words. She replied with equal honesty, "Dad, forgiveness isn't easy, but I've learned that holding on to anger only hurts the one who carries it. I forgive you, and I hope we can move forward together." Over time, Sophia and her parents rebuilt their relationship. Isabella visited the bakery often, marveling at how her daughter had transformed. "You've built something extraordinary, Sophia," she admitted one day. "I'm so proud of you." Expanding the vision. As Margaret's Haven continued to thrive, Sophia decided it was time to expand. She opened additional shelters in nearby towns, each one modeled after the original. She also partnered with local businesses to create job opportunities for the women in her program. One of the foundation's most ambitious projects was a scholarship program for young mothers who wanted to return to school. Sophia knew firsthand how education could change lives, and she wanted to ensure no one else had to give up their dreams because of their circumstances. The scholarship program was named Gabriel's Wings after her son, who had been her motivation to keep going during the darkest times. Gabriel, now 10 years old, often accompanied Sophia to events, charming everyone with his enthusiasm. "My mom says we can always help people," he would proudly tell attendees. "That's what we do. Finding love again." Through her work, Sophia crossed paths with Ethan, a social worker who had dedicated his life to helping underprivileged families. Ethan was immediately drawn to Sophia's passion and resilience, and the two began collaborating on several projects. Over time, their professional relationship blossomed into something deeper. Ethan admired how Sophia had turned her struggles into a force for good, while Sophia was inspired by Ethan's unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. Their love story was a testament to the idea that even after heartbreak, love and partnership could bloom in unexpected ways. Together, they became a powerful team, merging their efforts to support marginalized communities. A global impact. Years later, Sophia's work caught international attention. She was invited to speak at conferences and share her story on global platforms. Her speeches were powerful, filled with vulnerability and hope. She reminded audiences that even in the face of rejection, there was a way forward. "We are not defined by the worst moments of our lives," Sophia said at a major event. "We are defined by how we rise after we fall, by how we choose to use our pain to uplift others." Sophia's foundation expanded beyond her country, opening shelters and programs in areas affected by poverty and conflict. What began as a small bakery in a quiet town had grown into a worldwide movement, a legacy of love. Decades later, Sophia stood in front of a crowd at the grand opening of a new global headquarters for the Second Chances Foundation. Her hair was streaked with silver, but her spirit remained as fiery as ever. Gabriel, now an adult, stood beside her, ready to take on a leadership role in the foundation. As she addressed the crowd, Sophia's voice was steady and full of gratitude. This journey began with rejection and pain, but it has become a story of resilience, forgiveness, and love. None of this would have been possible without the kindness of one person who believed in me. If there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this. Never underestimate the power of compassion. It can change a life. It can change the world. The crowd erupted in applause, and Sophia felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Her journey had come full circle, but the ripples of her work would continue for generations. This showcases Sophia's unwavering dedication to making a difference, her triumph over adversity, and her lasting impact on the world. It serves as a powerful reminder of the transformative power of resilience, compassion, and forgiveness. Passing the torch. As Sophia stood on the balcony of the Second Chances Foundation's global headquarters, she gazed at the bustling city below. It was a moment of reflection, a rare pause in her relentless pursuit of progress. Her journey, which had begun in heartbreak and rejection, had brought her to this pinnacle. But Sophia knew her mission was far from over. She was not just building a legacy for herself. She was preparing to pass the torch to the next generation. The rise of Gabriel. Gabriel, now 21, was a natural leader. His mother's resilience and compassion had shaped his character, instilling in him a deep sense of purpose. As he prepared to graduate from university with a degree in social entrepreneurship, Gabriel often shadowed Sophia, attending board meetings and visiting shelters. One evening, as they walked through the quiet halls of Margaret's Haven, Gabriel turned to his mother. "Mom, I've been thinking. I want to take this foundation to places it's never been. There are so many communities that still need help." Sophia smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "That's exactly what I've been hoping for," she replied. "But remember, Gabriel, this isn't about expanding for the sake of growth. It's about maintaining the soul of what we've built: compassion, respect, and empowerment." Gabriel nodded, understanding the weight of the responsibility he was about to inherit. He began working on a proposal to introduce technology-driven initiatives to the foundation, including virtual mentorship programs and digital education platforms for young mothers. A new vision. While Gabriel focused on modernizing the foundation, Sophia began working on a project that was deeply personal to her, a memoir. Titled Beneath the Rain, A Journey of Hope, the book would detail her life story, from the night she was cast out to her rise as a global changemaker. Writing the memoir was an emotional process. Sophia revisited memories she had long buried, from the cold bench where she first sought shelter to the kindness of Margaret's bakery. She also confronted the lingering pain of her parents' rejection, though she found solace in the fact that they had sought reconciliation in their later years. As Sophia penned her story, she realized it wasn't just about her. The book was a tribute to every person who had ever felt cast aside, a beacon of hope for those struggling to find their way. Challenges of transition. As Gabriel stepped into a leadership role, he faced his own set of challenges. Some board members were skeptical of his age and experience. "Do you really think someone so young can handle the complexities of running an international foundation?" One member asked during a meeting. Gabriel remained composed, his mother's teachings guiding him. "I may be young, but I've spent my entire life immersed in this mission," he replied confidently. "I'm not here to replace my mother. I'm here to build on her vision and take it further." Sophia, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "Gabriel is more than capable. I've seen his passion and his ideas. Let's give him the chance to prove himself." Over time, Gabriel's innovative approaches began to win over skeptics. He introduced new partnerships with tech companies, developed mobile apps to connect young mothers with resources, and launched a global mentorship program that paired successful alumni of the foundation with current participants. The ripple effect. The impact of the Second Chances Foundation began to grow exponentially. Stories of transformation poured in from across the globe. A young mother in Kenya who used the foundation's microloan program to start her own tailoring business, a teenager in Brazil who learned coding through the digital education platform, and a woman in rural India who opened a bakery inspired by Sophia's story. These successes fueled Gabriel's ambition and solidified his leadership. He often traveled to meet participants, sharing meals with them and listening to their stories. "My mother always says that every life touched creates a ripple," he told a group of young mothers during a visit to a shelter in the Philippines. "You are those ripples, and your strength inspires us all." Sophia's farewell tour. As Gabriel took on more responsibilities, Sophia decided it was time to step back. She embarked on a farewell tour, visiting every shelter, bakery, and community the foundation had touched. It was a bittersweet journey, filled with tearful goodbyes and heartfelt gratitude. In one shelter, a young mother approached Sophia with a newborn in her arms. "I named her Margaret," she said, her voice trembling. "Because without you and this foundation, I don't know where we'd be." Sophia held the baby close, her heart full. Moments like these reminded her why she had fought so hard for so long. During the tour, Sophia also returned to her hometown, where the bakery she had established years ago still thrived. The community that once shunned her now welcomed her with open arms. Former neighbors who had criticized her stood in line to shake her hand and thank her for bringing prosperity to their town. A life well lived. On her 60th birthday, Sophia officially retired, passing the reins to Gabriel. A grand celebration was held at the foundation's headquarters, attended by people from all over the world whose lives she had touched. Margaret, now in her 90s, attended as the guest of honor. "Sophia has shown us all that even in the darkest times, there is light," she said, her voice quivering with emotion. "Her life is proof that compassion can change the world." In her final speech as the foundation's leader, Sophia reflected on her journey. "When I was 13, I thought my life was over. But the kindness of one person changed everything. Today, I see a world filled with possibility, with people who are willing to fight for each other. This foundation is not just my legacy. It's all of ours. Together, we've proven that second chances are worth fighting for." The next chapter. Though Sophia retired, her work was far from over. She became a sought-after speaker and author, continuing to inspire others with her story. Her memoir became a bestseller, translated into dozens of languages, and was even adapted into a film. Meanwhile, Gabriel carried the torch with grace and innovation. Under his leadership, the foundation expanded into over 50 countries, reaching millions of women and children. Sophia spent her days mentoring young leaders, enjoying time with her grandchildren, and occasionally visiting the bakery where it all began. Each visit reminded her of Margaret's unwavering faith in her and the power of compassion to change lives. A legacy that lives on. Sophia's story became more than just her own. It became a movement. The foundation she built, the lives she touched, and the resilience she inspired ensured that her legacy would endure for generations. As she sat in her garden one quiet evening, Sophia watched the sunset with Gabriel by her side. "You've taken this further than I ever dreamed," she said, her voice filled with pride. Gabriel smiled. "That's because you taught me to dream, Mom. And now we get to help others do the same." In that moment, Sophia knew that her life's work had been worth every struggle. The world was a little kinder, a little brighter, and a little more hopeful because she had dared to rise from the ashes. This final chapter celebrates the culmination of Sophia's journey, the growth of her legacy, and the continuation of her mission through the next generation. It leaves readers with a powerful message about resilience, compassion, and the enduring impact of hope. The infinite ripple. Sophia's retirement didn't mark the end of her influence. Rather, it signaled the beginning of a quieter, deeper phase of her journey. She had learned that while headlines fade, the ripples of compassion continue to expand, reaching far beyond their origin. And Sophia was determined to nurture these ripples for as long as she could. A village of second chances. One of Sophia's dreams had always been to create a self-sustaining community, a place where young mothers could not only rebuild their lives, but thrive in an environment designed to empower them. After years of careful planning, she founded the Village of Hope on a sprawling piece of land donated by a philanthropist who had been inspired by her work. The village was more than a shelter. It was a sanctuary. Homes were built with sustainable materials, and every family had a small garden for growing fresh produce. A central building housed a daycare center, classrooms for education, and workshops for skill building. There was also a bakery, modeled after the one Sophia had started in her hometown, that provided training and employment opportunities. The village operated on a unique principle. Every resident was both a beneficiary and a contributor. Mothers helped run the daycare, worked in the bakery, or taught workshops based on their skills. This system fostered a sense of community and empowerment, breaking the cycle of dependency. Sophia's visits to the village became her favorite part of her work. She spent hours listening to the residents' stories, watching children play, and marveling at the resilience of the human spirit. This village isn't just about survival, she often said. It's about thriving, about rewriting your story. Gabriel's bold vision. Meanwhile, Gabriel was pushing the boundaries of the Foundation's work. Inspired by his mother's determination to leave no one behind, he launched an initiative called the Invisible Network. This program focused on identifying and aiding young mothers in remote and underserved areas who often slipped through the cracks of traditional aid systems. Using a combination of technology and grassroots organizing, Gabriel's team mapped out regions with limited access to healthcare, education, and employment. They partnered with local leaders and volunteers to create community hubs where resources and training could be distributed. One of the most transformative elements of the Invisible Network was its storytelling component. Women from around the world shared their journeys through short videos and interviews, creating a global tapestry of resilience and hope. When you share your story, you give others permission to believe in their own strength, Gabriel often said, echoing the lessons his mother had taught him. The struggles of leadership. Despite their successes, Sophia and Gabriel faced ongoing challenges. The expansion of the Foundation and the creation of the Village of Hope demanded substantial resources, and funding became a constant concern. Some donors questioned the sustainability of such ambitious projects. "We've come too far to stop now," Sophia told Gabriel during a late-night meeting. "But we need to think creatively about how we sustain this." Together, they developed a plan to turn the Foundation's programs into self-sustaining models. The bakery in the Village of Hope, for example, began selling its goods online, with all profits reinvested into the community. The Foundation also partnered with ethical brands, creating job opportunities for the women they served while generating additional funding. Sophia's memoir, Beneath the Rain, also played a significant role in raising awareness and funds. Proceeds from the book and the subsequent film adaptation were funneled back into the Foundation, helping to secure its future. A reunion of generations. One of the most profound moments in Sophia's later years came when she organized a global reunion for all the women who had passed through the Foundation's programs. The event, held in a massive convention center, drew thousands of attendees from around the world. As Sophia stepped onto the stage, the crowd erupted into applause. Looking out at the sea of faces, mothers, children, and even grandchildren, she felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of what had been achieved. "I stand here today, not as a savior, but as someone who was once lost," Sophia began, her voice steady but emotional. "Each of you has proven that no matter how dire the circumstances, we have the power to rise. Together, we've built something extraordinary, a family that spans continents." The reunion was a celebration of resilience and community. Attendees shared their stories, exchanged ideas, and forged new connections. For Sophia, it was a tangible representation of the ripple effect she had always believed in. Honoring Margaret's legacy. Margaret's passing at the age of 97 marked a somber moment for Sophia and the Foundation. The woman who had been the catalyst for Sophia's transformation left behind a legacy of kindness that continued to inspire millions. In her honor, Sophia and Gabriel established the Margaret Fellowship, a program that trained and supported individuals who wanted to start similar initiatives in their own communities. The fellowship ensured that Margaret's spirit of compassion lived on, spreading across the globe. A final chapter. As Sophia entered her 70s, her pace slowed, but her heart remained as determined as ever. She spent more time at the Village of Hope, where she became a beloved figure to the residents. Children often ran to greet her, calling her Grandma Sophia, while mothers sought her advice and encouragement. One crisp autumn evening, as the sun set over the Village of Hope, Sophia sat on a bench overlooking the gardens. Gabriel joined her, carrying a cup of tea. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the golden light play across the landscape. "You've built something incredible here, Mom," Gabriel said softly. "Something that will outlive us both." Sophia smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. "We've built it, Gabriel. Together. And it will keep growing, as long as there are people willing to believe in second chances." That night, as Sophia reflected on her life, she felt an overwhelming sense of peace. She had taken her darkest moments and transformed them into something beautiful. And while her journey was nearing its end, the ripples she had created would continue to spread, touching lives she would never meet. A legacy of love and compassion. Sophia passed away quietly in her sleep a few years later, leaving behind a world that was undeniably better because she had lived in it. Her memorial was attended by thousands, each person carrying a story of how her kindness had changed their lives. Gabriel, now a confident and visionary leader, stood at the podium to deliver the eulogy. "My mother taught me that even in the face of rejection and despair, we have the power to rise." She believed in the strength of the human spirit and the boundless possibilities of compassion. Her story is not just hers, it's ours. It belongs to every person who has ever dared to hope. As the sun set on Sophia's life, the ripples she had created continued to expand, reminding the world that even the smallest acts of kindness can create waves of change that last forever. This captures Sophia's enduring legacy, the challenges and triumphs of leadership, and the generational impact of her work. It serves as a poignant and uplifting conclusion to an extraordinary journey. A world transformed. Sophia's passing marked the end of an era, but her legacy ignited a new chapter for the Second Chances Foundation and the lives it touched. Her story, now immortalized in books, films, and the memories of those she inspired, became a rallying cry for compassion and resilience across the globe. Yet, even in her absence, the work continued, evolving in ways Sophia herself might never have imagined. Gabriel's vision for the future. With Sophia's wisdom as his guide, Gabriel stepped fully into his role as the Foundation's leader. He knew that honoring his mother's legacy meant not only preserving what she had built, but expanding its reach to meet the needs of a rapidly changing world. One of Gabriel's boldest initiatives was the launch of the Sophia Project, a global network of mobile units designed to bring resources to the most inaccessible corners of the world. These units, converted trucks equipped with medical supplies, educational tools, and technology, traveled to remote villages, refugee camps, and disaster-stricken areas. The Sophia Project is about meeting people where they are, Gabriel explained during its unveiling. "We're taking the spirit of my mother's work, compassion and empowerment, and making it mobile." Each unit was staffed by volunteers who had once been beneficiaries of the Foundation, creating a cycle of giving back. Their first-hand understanding of hardship made them uniquely suited to connect with those they served. Expanding the Village of Hope. The original Village of Hope became a blueprint for similar communities worldwide. Gabriel worked with architects, social workers, and environmental experts to design villages that were culturally adaptable and sustainable. In Africa, a Village of Hope integrated solar-powered classrooms and water purification systems. In Southeast Asia, another village specialized in artisanal crafts, teaching residents traditional techniques while creating economic opportunities. Each location reflected the unique strengths and needs of its community. Gabriel also introduced a program called Generations of Hope, which encouraged former residents to mentor new arrivals. The program emphasized the importance of shared experiences and mutual support. One former resident, Clara, who had been among the first to graduate from the Foundation's programs, became a director of one such village. "I was once a scared girl with no future," she said during an interview. "Now I have the privilege of helping others find their strength." This is the ripple effect Sophia believed in. Sophia's ripple reaches new shores. The Sophia Project and the Village of Hope initiatives caught the attention of global leaders and organizations. Governments began reaching out to partner with the Foundation, integrating its programs into national social service systems. At the United Nations, Gabriel delivered a keynote speech that captivated the audience. "My mother taught me that the smallest act of kindness can spark a revolution," he said. "We are here today because of her belief that every person deserves a second chance. Together, we can ensure that no one is left behind." The Foundation's programs soon became models for international aid, inspiring policies that prioritized holistic support for marginalized groups. Sophia's name became synonymous with compassion-driven innovation. Technology meets compassion. Recognizing the power of technology, Gabriel collaborated with tech giants to create a digital platform called Second Chances Connect. The platform offered online counseling, mentorship, and training programs, allowing the Foundation to reach millions more people than ever before. Through virtual classrooms, young mothers in remote areas could earn certifications in fields like coding, healthcare, and business management. The platform also featured a global mentorship program, where women who had overcome adversity could share their experiences and guide others. One young mother in Brazil, Maria, shared how the platform changed her life. "I couldn't leave my home because of my responsibilities," she said. "But through Second Chances Connect, I learned graphic design and now work remotely for a marketing agency. It's like Sophia's kindness reached me across the world." A new generation takes the lead. Gabriel's own children, inspired by the stories of their grandmother, began to take an active role in the Foundation. His eldest daughter, Elena, spearheaded an initiative called Voices of Resilience, a documentary series that showcased the stories of women who had rebuilt their lives through the Foundation. The series gained international acclaim, winning awards for its raw and powerful storytelling. In one episode, a woman named Amina from Yemen recounted how the Foundation helped her escape a war-torn region and rebuild her life in a village of hope. "Sophia's story gave me strength when I had none," she said. "Now, I tell my story to give strength to others." Elena's work brought a fresh perspective to the Foundation, appealing to younger generations and ensuring that Sophia's message remained relevant in an ever-changing world. Celebrating a century of impact. Decades after Sophia's passing, the Foundation celebrated its 100th anniversary. The event was held in a massive amphitheater, attended by world leaders, philanthropists, and generations of individuals whose lives had been transformed. Gabriel, now in his 60s, opened the event with a heartfelt speech. "This foundation began with one woman's refusal to let her circumstances define her," he said. "Today, it stands as a testament to the power of compassion and the resilience of the human spirit." As part of the celebration, a special tribute was unveiled, a monumental sculpture called The Ripple Effect. The piece featured a large stone basin filled with water, where visitors could drop pebbles to create ripples. Each ripple symbolized the impact of a single act of kindness. The tribute also included an archive of Sophia's work, from her memoirs to video recordings of her speeches. It became a place of inspiration for visitors from around the world. The eternal ripple. Even after a century, Sophia's influence continued to grow. Her story was taught in schools, her Foundation's methods studied in universities, and her message carried forward by countless individuals inspired by her resilience. In quiet moments, those who had been touched by Sophia's work would reflect on her simple yet profound philosophy. One act of kindness can change everything. The world she left behind was not perfect, but it was undeniably better, full of people who believed in second chances, who dared to hope, and who worked tirelessly to create a future where no one was left behind. As the ripples of Sophia's life spread outward, they reminded humanity of a truth that transcends time. From even the darkest moments, light can emerge, and from even the smallest acts, greatness can grow. This final installment explores the long-term impact of Sophia's legacy, the innovation and expansion of her foundation, and the generational continuity of her mission. It underscores the enduring power of compassion and resilience, leaving a lasting message of hope and inspiration. The lasting lesson. The story of Sophia and her journey from despair to triumph serves as a powerful reminder of the transformative power of kindness, resilience, and second chances. Through her struggles and triumphs, Sophia proved that even in the face of rejection, one can rise, grow, and inspire others to do the same. A world forever changed. Sophia's legacy didn't end with her life. The foundation she built, the countless lives she touched, and the hope she instilled continued to ripple through the world. From remote villages to bustling cities, her influence was felt in the hands of young mothers holding their children, in the classrooms of women learning new skills, and in the hearts of those who dared to believe in a better future. But the true lesson of Sophia's story was not just about her accomplishments. It was about the values she lived by, values that anyone can embody. Kindness has the power to save lives. A single act of compassion from Margaret changed the trajectory of Sophia's life, proving that even small gestures can have profound effects. Forgiveness is freeing. Sophia chose to forgive her parents, not because their actions were justified, but because holding on to anger only weighs the soul down. In forgiveness, she found peace and strength. Everyone deserves a second chance. Sophia's belief in the potential of others created a global movement that changed millions of lives. Her story reminds us that no one should be defined by their mistakes or circumstances. Resilience can overcome rejection. Sophia's journey was fraught with obstacles, yet she chose to rise above them. Her story teaches us that setbacks are not the end. They are opportunities to rebuild and grow stronger. A message for all. As generations carried forward Sophia's work, her story became a universal symbol of hope. It resonated with anyone who had ever faced rejection, loss, or despair, offering a beacon of light in their darkest moments. Sophia's favorite saying, etched onto plaques in every village of hope, encapsulated her philosophy. You are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to rise from it. A quiet legacy. In the hearts of those who knew her story, Sophia remained not just a global figure, but a personal source of inspiration. Her memory lived on in classrooms where children learned about her work, in the villages that bore her influence, and in the homes of families whose lives were forever changed by her compassion. As her son Gabriel once said, "The greatest gift my mother gave the world was the belief that no life is beyond saving, no situation beyond hope." A lesson to carry forward. In closing, Sophia's life teaches us this. We all have the power to create ripples of change, no matter how small our actions may seem. The kindness we extend to others today may grow into a wave of transformation tomorrow. And when we choose to see the potential in others, we empower them to see it in themselves. Sophia's journey ended, but her lessons remain timeless. Her story is not just hers. It belongs to all of us. It challenges us to ask, what kind of ripple will we create in the world? And with that question, Sophia's legacy continues, carried forward in every act of kindness, every second chance, and every person who dares to rise. This concludes the story. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope you found it enjoyable. If you did, please consider liking the video and sharing it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell for more captivating stories. Have a great day.